directly to the killer, who may be in this room. We believe you are hiding in plain sight. For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift gears to a different investigative strategy, but we have. We likely have interviewed you, or someone close to you. We know that this is about power to you, and you want to know what we know. And one day, you will.
What's up, Mob Crew? I'm Chris, and welcome. Today's video, we are focusing on 3 major clues: an unspent bullet, Libby's shoe, and her phone. I believe the details recently released in the Frank's Motion, along with these clues, could possibly tell a story of the tragic final moments of Abby and Libby. We will be covering that and much more in today's video. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover true crime, mystery to the missing. On an abnormally warm day on February 13th of 2017, 2 best friends, Libby and Abby, were dropped off near the Monon High Bridge in Delphi, Indiana at around 1:50 p.m. Not long after the two were traversing the old and intimidating bridge, the 2 girls would encounter a monster that was following them. Right now, that monster is allegedly Richard Allen. With Libby's brave instinct, she pulled out her phone and began to record as this monster got closer. This monster would speak the infamous words, It's unclear what exactly took place next, but it seems that they would be ordered down the hill, and either by force or by trying to escape, they would cross the creek to the other side. Sadly, this is where their lives would be taken. A little over an hour later, Derek German, the father of Libby, would arrive at 3 p.m. to pick up the 2 girls, but they were not at the meetup spot. After a short time of not being able to find the 2 girls, law enforcement would be notified and brought in, along with volunteers to help find the 2 girls. Sadly, the 2 girls would not be found on the first day, and the search would be suspended in the late evening. The following day, the search would continue with volunteer support and even air support. Sadly, the 2 girls' bodies would be found approximately 50 feet from the creek on the opposite side just before noon. One thing we've heard over and over is how odd the crime scene was. The details of it would be released inside the Frank's Motion by the former defense team of Richard Allen, which were Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie. But they would be supposedly forced to withdraw from the case after unfortunate leaks of crime scene photos and more. But there is an interesting theory I wanted to share in today's video about what could have happened based on the clues and details given about the crime scene. But before we do that, let's recap what was found at the scene. Apparently, the 2 girls were found close together with logs and sticks placed on top of them. Was this a special signature by a crazy killer, or was this an attempt to hide the bodies? What's even more odd is that Libby was naked while Abby was found wearing Libby's clothing. Between the girls, buried under leaves, was the unspent round that has been traced back to Allen's Sig Sauer. Under Abby's body was one of Libby's shoes, and under Libby's shoe was Libby's phone. I believe these 3 items could be huge clues on what may have occurred just before they were brutally attacked. Also near the bodies is what is known as the F tree, but we don't know the exact distance, as it only mentioned that it's nearby the bodies. So the big question would be when and where they would be forced to undress themselves, and where did the attack happen. I believe, given that the unspent bullet was found between the girls and that Libby's phone and her shoe were under Abby, leads me to think this is where the two girls were still alive at this point, and the offender cycled his gun, which he had cycled it previously on the bridge. This would then cause a bullet to eject out. This was clearly an attempt to intimidate the poor girls, possibly into terrible demands. I think it's possible in this moment, as the girls were forced to undress, Libby took her phone and hid it in her shoe and could have covered it with some leaves. I believe this is where I think Libby either attempted to attack the offender to try to give Abby time to run, or they both tried to run but didn't get far, and that's when Libby's life was taken, nearby what would be known as the F tree. This could explain the blood spatter at the base of the F tree, and during the attack, either Libby or the offender had made contact at the 4-foot area of the F tree, which created this design. While what exactly happened to Abby is more of a mystery, it's clear her life would also be taken, and for some reason the offender at some point afterwards dressed Abby back up, but may have not realized that it was Libby's clothes. He would then toss Abby's clothing and one of Libby's shoes into the creek. From here, the staging would take place. If you look at old news footage, they give an idea of the crime scene area, with it sealed off like a square. Inside that square, you can see that the southern section has more weeds and less dense with leaves, but the northern section of the crime scene is more dense with leaves and branches. From insider tips and sources, I have a general idea of where the girls were found, and it seems they are just inside the north section, where the leaves are more dense. Leading to my theory, the offender moved the bodies approximately 10 to 20 feet from where they were attacked and moved them into the north section so he could try and hide the body with branches and leaves. I believe Abby was dragged back to where the shoe and phone were, with the offender not knowing it was buried under the leaves. I believe the reason the offender used branches to lay on top of the girls could have many explanations, but Odinism wouldn't be one. David Eskron explains that when he found the girls, Libby's top half was covered with leaves, which leads me to believe he was intending to hide the bodies, which is what many killers have in common, and he was trying to make it look more natural than just having two big piles of leaves. But perhaps during the hiding stage, something spooked the offender and he panicked. We know that at 3:11 and 3:13 p.m., Libby's father tried calling her phone, which did ring both times. So perhaps the offender heard something, got spooked, and decided to make his escape. While I do believe Richard Allen is the one who is responsible, I do think it's totally possible there could be another party that had some part in all of this. But I believe these three items are major clues that tell part of a story. But of course, this is just speculation based on clues, and does not mean this is exactly what went down. As far as what's upcoming, Richard Allen has another court date in a few days on October 31st, where he could possibly get new appointed counsel. So we will go live then. If you enjoyed today's video, please smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. There are plenty of ways to support this channel by becoming a member or support me on my Patreon page. We do also work on cold cases and help families. Thank you so much for watching.